sassy, a little bit crazy, a little bit classy. We got dreams and we got goals. We're just a couple of old sassholes.
And we're doing it.
Now we're on?
We sure are.
Okay. This is take 3?
Yeah, because we're crushing it in the new year with new us's at a couple of... Ooh. Ooh.
We're crushing it.
Look at us crush it.
Oh, this is staying in. We're not starting over.
This, I know.
Push forward.
I'm trying. I am trying. God only knows how hard. This is a Couple of Sassholes podcast. I'm Brooklyn Maple.
And I'm Heather Terry.
And apparently... we are going to kill this episode.
I know. Sorry we're so professional.
I know.
It probably makes you guys uncomfortable.
It's like just our fucking goddess-like capabilities.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard every day.
It is.
I'm really excited that we're in the studio today. I don't really know why. I'm just pretty pumped.
Probably because we're not sitting at the kitchen table. However, I do sit there quite often. Theo the dog, decided he wanted to be our co-host.
He was so much. It was my turn to edit. And I was just like, so I was downstairs at the same kitchen table and I had my headphones in, like my big ones. And I was like, fuck, Theo's eating so loud. And I turned to look and I'm like, wait, where is he? And I'm like, it's the fucking podcast. I was like, he is nom-nomming like a motherfucker. And then he whines the whole time. And I'm like, oh, wow.
And these mics are better.
Oh, they're so much better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah, me too.
So we've been crushing it with our healthy habits. I'm really proud of us. We're both down a few lbs, which is great.
Yeah.
I'm feeling real good.
I put on my winter coat over December. And I was
like, what do you mean? I'm like, oh, that's cute.
You're
that's
like,
funny.
You don't wear coats.
I know. That's a cute way to put it. That's a cute way to put it.
Yeah, just got all merry during December. And
yeah, ate, drank, was merry.
Mm-hmm. Eat, drink, and be Terry. That was my wedding hashtag.
Oh, that's so cute.
The look you just gave
I just
me.
Loved that so
Kim
much.
Everton came up with it. I did not, but
well, that was great. Mm-hmm. I try to go I wake up every day and I'm still sad that I wasn't at your wedding because we hadn't met yet.
Oh, that made me sad.
It makes me sad.
Well, we're going to renew our vows at 10 years, we decided. So
we're just all so close now.
Yeah, we'll do another one.
Perfect. And I can't wait to be big, right there.
But it'll be
destination. Oh, please, dear God, don't. I don't like that. Oh. No.
It's in your backyard.
Yes.
Theo's going to be in it. It'll be great.
Oh, that would be great.
We'll video chat with Trixie, my dog, because she is the devil. Hates everyone but mom and dad.
Yep.
Okay, can we talk about this for a second?
What?
I need an intervention. If anyone's an intervention specialist, please email me at heather@coupleofsassholes.com. Because my sister, Brooklyn Maple, Brooklyn Stephen Maple, she was supposed to be done with her Invisalign trays, right? They hated them the whole time.
Yes.
Not a fan, was a fan of the results, not a fan of said act of. Then she keeps using them as a security blanket. She walked in today and I heard her take them out. And I said, excuse me, I thought you were done. She's like, looked the look of shame. You know that look like when a dog is pooping and they turn around and look at you? That's what the look you gave me whenever you were taking your Invisalign out.
So here's the reason.
Okay.
All right. So I took them off yesterday. I was supposed to be able to take them off January 1st. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't have to wear them anymore. But because of really, I want to say October, November, December, those 3 months, whenever it was the 3 months, I officially didn't have to yes, I still had to wear them for the 90 days because your bones are still setting anyway. And it was whenever we were drinking, and anytime you're drinking, you can't keep you can, but who the fuck has those trays in when they're drinking red wine or something?
Yeah.
So they just weren't in the 22 to 24 hours. So last night I put them in before I went to bed and my jaw hurt.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So I was like, okay, that means that there's a heavier shift.
Well, now I feel bad.
No, it's
making fun
because
of you.
I told you all day Friday though. I was like, I'm freaking out because I'm so used to having them in my mouth that I'm kind of uncomfortable not having them in my mouth. Wearing them every day for 22 hours.
That's a lot.
For a year. You just get used to having
them. They're
them.
part of you, and I'm sad that you had to let them go. But I think it's time.
It is. So it's not time because I told myself I was like, I gave Friday, and then I laid down in bed, and I was like, my bottom right jaw was hurting.
That's
and
weird.
I know it's from my teeth are shifting a little bit.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I'm going to keep them in. I told myself I'm going to start wearing them again like I'm supposed to. Try to keep them in for the 20 hours, and I'm going to do it for another week. And then next Friday, I'm going to take them out again.
All right.
See how I feel.
You guys, I will report back to make sure. You're going to have to give them to me. It's like taking away your passy. You're going to have to give them to me.
I was just talking to my dentist yesterday at the gym, and I should have been like, hey,
Janet,
dentist.
I have a problem.
Jan, I think that we need to talk about this. Can you look at my mouth real quick while we're both on this treadmill and tell me if you think they're moving?
I'll do what my parents did to me to get rid of my pacifier. She took them out of her pocket.
Well, because I got to take my hoodie off.
Okay.
I'm already hot.
My parents told me that my beloved Doberman that I was obsessed with when I was a kid ate it. Mom said that I was so mean to that dog for a week. And you know how I feel about dogs. I like them better than people. I wouldn't go near that dog for a week because I thought the dog ate my pacifier.
It's pretty brutal. Do you guys want to know what torture device my parents did to me?
What? I don't even do. I know
This blows me away now.
Okay.
But like I used to suck on my fingers.
Oh,
okay,
you
my
told me
first
that.
2 fingers, right? And I did it way past like the appropriate amount of time that you're supposed to. I just got lucky that I didn't do it to the extent that it made my teeth shift.
Yeah.
Like I got Invisalign, but it's not because I had my teeth shifted from me sucking my fingers as a kid.
That was not a segue.
Yeah. And I think it was like, it wasn't kindergarten. It was like first or second grade, which meant I did it when I slept. That's what it was. And they put these spikes. So it was like a retainer, but in the back. And I also had a really bad lisp, like my tongue, right? I went, "Nah." So it was spikes behind my front teeth on the top.
Whoa.
So it forced my tongue behind the spikes. And then if I put my fingers in my mouth, it was full sharp spikes.
What is it? How did we? Okay.
I want to know
Y'all
how.
kids have it easy.
Oh my God.
She'd be having spikes in her mouth.
I just can't believe how that was legal.
The 80s and the 90s.
Yeah, it was definitely the 90s. And they were
90s.
like, oh, your daughter fucking put spikes in their mouth. See, and that's what my parents, such hard
Spikes
asses.
in their mouth.
My parents are such hard asses that at one point, right before my senior spring break, I had injured my shoulder and I was wearing a sling, and my mom found out I wasn't wearing my sling, and she went straight in and they put me in a fucking cast.
Oh.
Like, this is how hard ass my parents
Did people
are.
sign it?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I was really
What?
that into signing. It wasn't a broken bone. It was
Even if I didn't like
But
the people,
can
I
you
would be
understand
like,
how
yeah.
fucked up that is? That it's like, oh, you took. Well, no, it's not fucked up. My parents were just being parents. I'm so thankful that they put the spikes in my mouth. Though I remember telling them I hated them and crying, and then I had no way to cope because I put my fingers in my mouth.
I mean,
What
walking
a
around
journey!
with bloody fingers.
Oh well,
Wow.
You don't hear no lisp going on right now, do you?
She basically what she wants to tell everyone is she got to glow up. So good
Yeah,
for you.
my
No
parents
spikes,
are awesome.
spike-free mouth,
Yes,
no cast.
I have a great shoulder.
Just a great shoulder.
Everything
full
is
range
good.
motion.
Yes,
Man.
thanks to Mona and Dwayne Maple.
This is riveting.
Yeah, good times. Now people know more about me.
They do, yes.
Okay, so my sister, I talked to her this morning, and she was the second that I told her I was on the way to go record the podcast, she goes, Lulu Rowe. And I was like, I don't, is that a new kid's name? I go, what? I was like, what?
just
And she
yell
goes,
words.
your last episode, it's Lulu Rowe. So Lulu Rowe was the company that you were talking about that did the multi-level marketing scheme and shut down.
Oh, thanks, Brittany.
Yes, always appreciate it.
It's a good ass documentary.
I need to see that one because I think I'd be intrigued by
The owners
that.
are on it and they're so delusional.
Oh my God, I
and
love
white
delusional
and
people.
ridiculous.
Oh, fuckers. I can't
They're
wait.
terrible.
Ooh, I'm putting that right in my pocket, and I'm gonna watch that later.
She's gonna text me in 3 weeks. What was that thing you told me to watch?
I am. I will.
I know.
Actually, I'll just be like, what is it on? Like, what streaming service?
Yes.
That will be my question.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
It is.
Ooh, she's gonna tell me.
I don't know if it's Hulu.
That was a fun sound effect. What are you drinking today?
This tea. I'm not drinking alcohol today yet.
I hear ya.
Tonight, I'm counting down the minutes.
So Heather has decided she's only going to drink 1 day a week. I'm still doing sober January because I have to actually be sober. Heather can still function. And so I am drinking one of those drink your moments. I brought that because I was like, yeah. So so
It's like
here's-
those mocktail things.
I don't want to say it's a mocktail because it doesn't taste anything like alcohol. If you want to try it, you've tried them before. This one's blueberry ginger. And so they're pumped with adaptogens. They have like 15
We
calories.
have talked about this because I didn't know what an adaptogen was.
Yeah. And I think they're wonderful. They don't taste like alcohol, but they're refreshing. If you have one, it's supposed to have like a nightcap kind of experience for you, like a healthy way of having a glass of wine after work. If you have two, it's supposed to do something. Then if you have three, like you're supposed to have like a float. like kind of a really, I want to say like maybe a CBD experience. Whenever I have them though, I usually only drink like one. Sometimes when we were on the boat, I'd have two.
I don't think I could drink more than one. That's definitely
it's a healthy,
adapted, acquired taste. Good for you. It tastes like health, bubbly health.
Oh, it definitely, well, it's a still drink, but it's
and
definitely gingery.
I feel like I should disclaimer, like, it's not that I drink every day. I just could party down, 2 or 3 days in a row and decided one day in January would be
Heather is much more of
sufficient.
like a heavy, like drinks on
I
2
drink-
nights and drinks heavy. I drink, I was drinking essentially every night, just 1 or 2 glasses of wine.
Which is pretty normal. I just don't, if I have 1 or 2, I can't stop. It's kind of like.
Yeah, we know our
like
personalities and that's
me
why
and
we
chips and
adjusted
queso.
it.
Like I can't just have 1 chip and queso. Well, who can?
I don't know who can.
Who can?
Not me.
I know the serving size are like 8 crackers. I'm like, who wrote this? Kate Moss. Stop working in service sizes.
Now with fucking Kim K. Did you see that stupid
What?
post? I never follow anything with her.
I know. Why are you talking about the Kardashians? You
Because
never
it's
do.
this whole thing about women's body positivity. So Kim
What'd she
K had
say?
started, she didn't say shit, if I could just say.
Sorry, go ahead.
So she has lost a ton of weight. And so the big concept right now is that Kim K had started the trend that curvy was in. And now because she's gotten skinny, they're saying is like now Kate Moss size, like, is that what's back in? And so I think women are concerned about what the new trend is. Is it that we're supposed to show our rib cages again? I mean, I'm obviously not going to. Women's bodies are not trends. We are who we are and we do what
Exactly.
makes us happy. But I also don't live in LA and not trying to be like a supermodel in New York. So I'm sure there's a lot of women out there that are concerned,
To each their own, and that is a valid concern. But like, I hate the fact that we're in a society where the Kardashians.
drive anything.
Yeah. Did
At
you
all.
see? I saw a meme this morning. Now that you mentioned that says it was a picture of them. It says before the Kardashians discovered plastic surgery, they look like different people.
Oh my gosh, I bet.
All of them. And Rob, who I think is adorable, he looks like this little roly poly. He's had a rough road.
Yeah. I mean, he's a Kardashian and not a female in it.
Yeah.
And a supermodel. So poor guy. But
That's very true.
anyway,
Yeah.
I hate that we even talked about them. I hate that I even implied that I knew that much about them.
I mean, yeah, that kind of
I read
shocked me
2
for a
things
second.
in the last 2 days and heard something else say
See-
something about how the concern about Kim K getting skinny is going to change the trend of women's.
The beauty of you, though, is the fact that you read 2 paragraphs probably and you sounded like you got your PhD. So good for you.
Well, thank you.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Very proud.
So let's talk about our topics today. So this one's a fun one, and I'm grateful. I'm happy that Heather just fucking did
I
it the
don't
way that
follow
Heather. I love
directions.
it. No, not at all, and I love it. I'm really grateful on this one specifically because of just the overall like topic and what we're doing. I don't think we need to be so on theme every time, and it gives a lot of versatility to the podcast, and hopefully everyone can hear stories that maybe they didn't think they'd be interested in.
It's definitely our personalities, too.
Yeah.
It's like, you're like, I'm by the rules. I'm ABC 1, 2, 3 rules. And I'm like, well, it's in the box. It's just got one leg out. Like, it's not all the way.
I don't think it's in the box. I think there's one leg in the box, and the whole thing's out.
Or I wink at the box when I run past and flip it off. Either way, you'll
I
hear
love it.
Yes.
So the goal was to do a survivor story in snow. That is what was communicated.
The thing I missed was the
Yes.
word survivor.
So she goes, well, I found something and there's snow in it. So for all I know, she's going to tell me this fucking story. And she's like, and on that day,
It
it snowed. And mine is about a fucking avalanche.
It's about
So
how
it's
the
like-
first human discovered what snow was and how it got its name.
Yeah. well,
Enjoy.
That would suck.
How it's made. Snow. Go. No.
No. So I'm going to start first
Go
with
for
my
it.
story. And I'm quite excited about it because I have now officially been working to just do this on my own free time early morning. Because
What?
last year. Well, yeah. No. I don't know.
Did you just
The
dad
last
joke us?
time you
we did
did
it
it-
on New Year's Eve.
Yeah. So last year, that was super. I didn't mean to say last year. I meant to say last week, actually.
I'll see you next year.
Heather did it that morning and I too did it this morning. So this one, I apparently saved it with the title, but didn't put it on the table. Oh, I think I named this one The Power of Grit. And I found it through the websites I Will Survive, which is the outside website.
Is a song.
Bushcraft Buddy, our friend Wiki, climbalaska.org, and then I Googled some stuff. All right, so we're going to start talking about Colby Coombs. So he had always been this adventurous type of guy who loved the wilderness, and at the age of 25, he was working as an instructor for the National Outdoor Leadership School. This school legit got my nips hard the second I went to their site and started looking into them. They are basically the wet dream of anyone who likes to be outdoors and dive into adventures. All of their NOLS courses are like unbelievable. They're from immersive wilderness expeditions to classroom-based wilderness medicine courses and are designed around learning by experience, mentorship from expert educators, and wilderness.
So you're going to here? Is that what you're talking about?
Students finish their courses inspired and empowered to act as leaders in their community. Essentially, you get to train in these awesome environments, and then you're able to like be a guide or start your own whitewater rafting company or something like that. It's so fucking cool. I may or may not have ordered a brochure from them.
I bet you did.
I can't even lie. It got me. I was like, this is unbelievable. The New Year, New You Brooklyn was really into this. I didn't cite them, but obviously I'm citing them right now because I just told you I was at their site. Mm-hmm. Another random interesting fact is I really couldn't find out a lot about this guy prior to this. There wasn't a Wikipedia page about him. And then I realized he didn't murder anyone. So maybe being a survivor doesn't warrant a page. Huh. Oh, well, such is life. With that, though, I did just kind of let the cat out of the bag
about
Colby surviving. We have a
spoiler alert
story.
Is there snow in this? Just making sure.
Yes, there's
like
snow.
I can't just carry this whole podcast. My back hurts, you know. I can't do it.
In June of 1992, his adventurous nature led him and two friends, Tom Walter and Rick Kellogg, to attempt to climb to the top of Mount Foraker, a 5,300 meter tall mountain located in south central Alaska.
Kellogg.
Yes.
I love when you say things like that. You keep scooting past because you know I'm like, God, she's going to say something.
I know. I'm like, I'm not going to listen to what you have to say because
you'll let me
we'll
later.
Talk about it. Yep. I'm sorry about my pages. I meant to print one-sided and I feel like I did a epic, like this isn't our 32nd episode. But anyway.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm like taking my hoodie off right on the mic. So.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So before we start, let's talk about Mount Foraker.
Okay.
Because I know that's important. This is a 17,400 foot mountain in the central Alaska range in Denali National Park. It's 14 miles southwest of Denali. It is the second highest peak in the Alaska range, and it's the third highest peak in the United States. It rises almost directly above the standard base camp for Denali, a fork of the, I think I'm saying Kahiltna Glacier. Can you text Leland and find out if I said that right? Who's also from Alaska. Also near Mount Hunter in the Alaska range. A total of 17 people have died while climbing it since the first fatal accident in 1976. Ugh. Most of the 7 fatal episodes were caused by avalanches. 11 bodies were never recovered.
That's sad.
Now, let's say because I did a lot of research, because the story isn't very long, so I gave a lot of research to everything else that was involved in it. So let's say somehow in an insane relapse of our life choices, you and I, in different versions of bodies, because obviously we haven't been training for something like this, could actually get a guide to hike this mountain. Guess how much it costs and how long it would take just for shits and gigs.
Okay. How much it would cost? So you have to pay people to hard exercise, danger exercise, if you will.
Yes.
This
is definitely danger exercise.
Talk about pissing your money in the wind, in my opinion. To each their own. I'm not doing that ever.
I would never do this.
What? This?
No,
you're not doing it after you're like, oh, everyone dies, but I'll see you later. No, you're never going.
I want to hike and do epic shit, but in environments that do, like, I'm not rappelling I'm not going to be in.
You're not going to do what they do on the TVs at Planet Fitness. You know how on the one
right,
TV
yes.
where they always show and it's like this guy's riding a mountain bike down the Grand Canyon with a no helmet and a GoPro.
Fuck that no. Yeah. Those always make my asshole pucker even on the treadmill. I'm like, I'm in a safe space.
I try to watch them. I'm like, I'm doing it. No, I'm not doing it.
No. Ooh.
No, okay. I don't even like going outside to get the mail. Get back. So, sorry. I think it costs $25,000 in today's money. Is that right?
No, but I love you.
Damn.
So this would be considered advanced, obviously. What if this was like, this is just intermediate? I'd be like, bitch, you do not have the right definition of this.
The bunny slope.
Alaska grade level 3. It would take 22 days is what the site that I found, which I did cite at the beginning. I don't remember which one it was. Mm-hmm. It says 22 days. For 4 climbers, you need 2 guides. So each person would have their own guide.
Okay.
And it's $11,500.
Oh, so I overshot.
Yeah. But I would never know what to guess on this either.
No. Like, if I had a guide and they didn't piggyback me all the way, no. What am I paying you $10,000 for? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Give me a ride.
It is said that the greatest challenge of an Alaska mountaineering expedition is not the climbing, but the storms. Unlike most of the world's highest mountains, Mount Foraker is 200 miles south of the Arctic Circle at 63 degrees north latitude. Its location on the planet places it in the subarctic and 35 degrees north of Everest, the same latitude as northern Hudson Bay and central Scandinavia. The average climate around Foraker's summit is probably more severe than any place on Earth.
What?
On the site where you can hire those guides, they say, and I quote, the weather on Foraker will... So I literally went into their PDF of if I was going to hike this and buy it. And the like documentation to actually hike this.
Oh gosh.
Here's
you should have
the quote.
left it on your screen so Travis would have seen it when he came.
Oh my God. No, talk about
No, he would have
hard
wanted to
nips.
go.
He would have been like, this sounds wonderful. Okay, quote. The weather on Foraker will dictate our every...
Dictate. Your name in college. Yes. Even sober, I'm on it.
Way to go. Okay, one more again.
Gold star.
The weather on Foraker will dictate our every move. It will force us to be flexible, patient, and spontaneous. Weather is one thing we cannot change. What we can do is work with it. So now we all know all the fun stuff. We are sufficiently trained on the topic. So let's dive back in.
Did you write that on your paper?
I did.
You're so cute. I knew you did. You look so proud, like you're like teaching me things, because you are, because I know nothing about climbing uphill in the snow.
I apparently really didn't either, but I didn't know what to look for. So I feel a little bit good about that. Okay. I do want to mention, I grabbed a lot of this from a site that is quoting Colby. So if it sounds like it's coming from him, it's because it is. I think it adds a lot to the experience of what happened up there.
Yes.
Again, it was June of 1992 and Colby Coombs, 25, Tom Walter, 34. I think that's right, but it was hard to find. And Rit Kellogg, 25, where I put in quotes, the best name ever. I love that name. And they started on their climb. The initial climb went well. Weather was holding out and no accidents for the most part. But at one point, when they were nearing a large cliff band, the weather started to change. A cliff band, because I was like, let me see what I don't think Heather will know. A cliff
Everything
band,
about this.
and I say it for you, but of course, anyone else that doesn't know what a fucking
This
cliff
isn't a
band
mountain
is.
podcast.
Right?
What are we even doing?
I know. I
Fine.
I
This is
only
supposed
want
to
to
be
do
called
this about
mountain
mountaineering.
Mountain chats. Right?
Around the
Fireside
fire.
mountain chat. Oh, you said it too.
Okay.
Go on. Okay, sorry. Go.
A cliff band can look like a few different things, but to a random human, I would say it's like a cliff's edge for simplicity. Usually, though, there are multiple bands of rock and earth, and you could fall or hit something. It's not like you're falling right off of a cliff, and it's like done.
Oh.
If that makes sense. So it's kind of like ridged, if you will.
Oh.
Yeah. Steps. Almost.
Steps.
Yeah.
Nature's steps.
Yes.
Look how outdoorsy
your
I
death.
am. To your death.
At this point, visibility was dropping fast and the wind was picking up at an unusually fast rate. Out of nowhere, Coombs felt the rope go slack from Walter, who was leading the climb. Imagine that they're all three tied together, so feeling any slack means that something happened to the person on your team. The second he feels it, he quickly looks up and sees a wave of snow smash him right in the face. Coombs said, I remember sliding really fast and trying to self-arrest, then hitting something and going airborne. That's when I passed out. I honestly can't even believe that he lived through this fucking part of it. And what sucks about an avalanche, I'm sure people know this, but you suffocate under the snow. Like that's usually how you die.
I did not know that.
So it's like getting hit with
I've never thought about it.
Yeah.
At all, ever.
If you get hit with the tidal wave, you drown under the water.
Which one would you rather do?
Suffocate under an avalanche. They're both utterly terrible.
I know, but if you had to pick one.
Oh my God.
The look she's giving me is like I'm going to be like, okay, let's go. Like,
yeah, right. And here's how you're going to die.
Just choose.
Probably an avalanche. I feel like it would be really peaceful and quiet.
Yeah, same. I think so too.
Yeah, and hopefully happen really fast.
I mean, because have you ever gotten like water in your nose in the pool? I can't imagine.
Oh,
doing
choking
that
on
all
it
the time.
too.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I digress.
Now I'm like, where did I? I honestly say in here, I really think he got super lucky. When he wakes up, he realizes that 6 hours have passed and that he is now 240 meters further down the mountain than when the avalanche had hit. That's like 800 feet. He was also dangling from his safety rope and was in severe pain, barely able to move one of his feet. Now, to be in this type of physical pain is one thing, but the worst part is that his backpack's gone. In his backpack, he would have had food, supplies, anything to help him survive and brave the weather, and hopefully a radio to call for help.
So he didn't have anything.
He doesn't have anything. And he's, what the other thing said was 22 days. And an avalanche just hit. So even like animals are dead, you know?
Oh.
It turns out that the safety rope that hit a protruding piece of rock on the cliff face and caught the line that they were all connected to, with Coombs on one end and his friend Tom Walter providing the counterweight on the other. I believe that means that if Tom hadn't been there, Coombs would have fallen off the cliff. As for Kellogg, it seems he became disconnected at some point during the fall and fell further down the mountain. I can honestly not even imagine the level of force that would have had to knock him from that rope, because those ropes are meant to hold you if someone fell.
Yeah.
The whole body weight of them.
Yeah,
so
that's wild.
That's a lot to unpack there. Coombs could see that Tom Walter was dead, as his face was so frozen that he couldn't even make out his features. It was like he was just ice.
Like us with Botox?
In like 6 hours.
Yeah, that's wild.
He managed to swing to a ledge and found Walter's sleeping bag, which he climbed inside and went to sleep. It was later found out that he had a concussion and could have died from going to sleep at this time, especially due to all of his injuries.
Yeah.
He had said that he could barely keep his eyes open and he didn't have a choice. When he woke up, he rappelled, because that sounds like a normal thing. He rappels to a lower and much bigger ledge, like the bigger step, where sadly he found the body of his friend and old college roommate, Rick Kellogg. He then spent the next 2.5 days trying to recover enough to climb down, and also spent the time gathering up any of the equipment that he could find that was scattered in the snow, which so much would have fallen. I'm amazed that he found anything, even if he could. So at this time, he was actually suffering from 2 fractured vertebrae in his neck, a broken shoulder blade, and he had fractured his ankle.
Oh my God.
So no
that
part of
awful.
him, awful. Fucking awful. You're in snow up to your knees with a broken ankle.
Oh God. I was like almost crying because I broke my fake nail off this morning, and this guy's like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
Walk it off. I guess he had no choice.
He had no choice.
That's insane.
Over the next 4 days. 4 days. And I hear nothing about food. I read through everything and I see nothing about food.
This is terrible.
I have no idea if he ate ever. I couldn't tell you that. But over the next 4 days, he shut out all of his thoughts of his dead friends, because they were his best friends.
Oh my God.
And laboriously picked his way down the mountain. He goes, I just had to keep my eyes open and ignore the pain. When he was finally ready to try and start climbing down, he headed for the southeast ridge of the mountain, a route that he was completely unfamiliar with, which would be terrifying in itself. He spent the next 6 days slowly moving down the slope, stopping occasionally to melt snow into drinking water and to try to deal with the pain in his foot.
Oh my God.
He knew that if he fell into a crevasse or anything impeded him from getting there, he would die, because at this point, no one had any idea where they were.
Yeah,
and
how would he?
had no help.
Okay.
So keeping in mind, they went on this expedition, but they also went to a school that trained them to go on this expedition.
Thank God.
So though an avalanche, which you can't control.
No.
And that also killed 11 people previously. It just kind of blows my mind. Like, I don't want to do anything where I never want to be in a place where an avalanche can happen, because I end up reading a lot about avalanches and they're fucking terrifying. The only accident on the way down was a slip that forced him to quickly grab a rock, putting all his body weight on one arm. That normally wouldn't be that big of a deal, but with all of his injuries, it was absolutely excruciating.
Yeah.
Somehow, he manages to keep going. The true definition of grit. Later, he claims that he took inspiration from God and also forced himself into a just keep going mental state. After reaching the Kahiltna Glacier, which was a dangerous 5-mile crossing, Coombs headed for an airstrip he knew was in the area, hoping to find someone. When he was close to the ridgetop the airstrip was located on, a search plane spotted him and they dispatched a rescue party.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Coombs was taken straight to the hospital, where he spent the next 3 months in a wheelchair because of all the damage to his ankle.
Well, yeah.
Obviously, it's one thing to break an ankle. It's a whole other thing to then like traipse around town on it.
Yeah.
I say that because Travis did that whenever he broke his ankle from a thing and then went freaking hiking for 6 days like a twat. But not in snow after an avalanche. He was followed by another 3 months on a crutch. He made a full recovery and didn't lose any body parts to frostbite, which I thought was amazing. But then it also proves just how good his gear was. That's like a huge thing. Gear is everything. But even in all of that, his socks would have had to have been soaking wet no matter what his boots were, because he was literally in a snow bath.
Oh, I never thought about that.
I'm amazed that something wasn't cut off.
Yeah.
Because he spent 9 days. 9 days.
I was getting ready to ask you
trying
how
to get
long
home.
it was.
Yeah. He is now the owner of the adventure school he was working for at the time of the accident, which I think is really freaking cool. So that website and all that stuff, that's Colby Coombs now.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I bet they were probably like, you know what? You're our star pupil.
I don't even know how that happened. Like, they don't say anything besides the fact that he owns it.
He's probably like, well, I'm going to invest in that because they're teaching.
And he was 25 at the time, so super young.
He was only 25.
He was only 25.
I never thought about that too.
Yeah, only 25.
Oh my gosh.
I'm quoting him here. He says, I don't tell my story much, only when it comes up during a teachable moment, he says. But if you do get in trouble, anything that gets in the way of success has to be eliminated. Emotion, fear, pain. It's the mental things that will impede your survival. That essentially is the story of Colby Coombs. But I did do a little bit more research and I had a few quick side notes. I believe that I got their ages right, but it's so amazing how some materials are easy to find and how hard other things are. A part of me thinks that Rit was actually a part of the Kellogg family because the name is so unique and it's spelled the same. The only way I found Rit's age, though, was from his tombstone. Oh. Like I had to Google and dig to find his freaking tombstone. Because back when this was written, it was in 92. It's just amazing what's not still on the internet.
Yeah.
The Kellogg family then did a ton of things in honor of Rit, which also made me think they may be a part of the Kellogg family because it was like big, costly things.
Yeah.
So in 93, just a year later, they started the Rit Kellogg Memorial Fund, which enables Colorado college students to develop and lead a responsible, unsupervised wilderness expedition in Canada and the United States. Aww. It's a unique college program that empowers students to take the next step in their development, both personally and in their outdoor and management skills. I also found that there was a climbing wall in Colorado named after Rit. Not so much for Tom, so my apologies there. That's pretty much like if I died with a rich friend, my parents would be like, we loved her, but we don't have money to start a fund like that. R.I.P. That was literally my thought. I was like, I'm going to guess Tom didn't come from rich parents.
Oh,
but
that's a really cool. He should tell every potential student that story and they'd be like, you know what? That sounds like a school that pays off.
Anyone that goes to that school has to know.
They have to.
There's no way. Like you just don't know. If you're so into being outdoors and you don't know the story of Colby Coombs.
Yeah, I already knew this because I'm an outdoorsman. So.
It would just blow my mind. Mm-hmm. But I thought that was a really cool story. It was pretty wild and not too lengthy.
And it was on theme.
It was indeed on theme. Nailed it. I'm ready for you.
You ready? Are you ready for me to go off script?
I am so excited about your story just because I don't know shit about fuck.
You don't know.
Like, we didn't even have to explain names this time. Like, usually we have to give the person's name and just trust that the other person just isn't going to Google it, which we don't. I never do.
Yeah, I don't either. Even though I'm very nosy, I like surprises also. So it's a tangled web I weave.
Yes.
This one, I don't have a cute name. I never do. I'm just going to accept the fact that I never do. I never will.
So don't worry about it. It's not your thing. It's my thing.
But like I would like to be creative also. So instead I don't.
You go, I want to be creative also, but instead I don't.
I don't, yeah.
Okay. Then why want to?
And I don't know. Just have FOMO. Cute. I have title FOMO.
You're funny.
I'm not going to tell you the story or anything. I'm just going to go.
Oh,
yeah. My sources for this, CBS News, Wikipedia. My Favorite Murder did this on episode 292. That's why I'm nervous that you might know it. And the Denver Post. So
I'm ready.
You ready?
Okay. Is this in Colorado?
Yes.
It's the Denver Post.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she just looked at me and was like, I just memorized My Favorite Murder. I was like, 292. That is.
I was so defeated.
I know. I was like, I don't know. It's just the Denver Post. I love Colorado, and that's the mountains that we're hiking. So it's like, tell me more.
Yeah, that made me. Okay. Now I'm not devastated.
I don't know shit about fuck still.
That's right.
You haven't said anything besides your works cited page.
That's right.
I love that you think I'm that smart.
I mean, you are smart. I know you all research a lot of places out west, like to travel. So have you guys ever heard of Breckenridge, Colorado?
Everything about it. I know a lot of stuff about Breckenridge.
What do you know?
I know a lot of things to do there. It was originally the place we were supposed to go. Breckenridge was where we were going to go the following year. Yeah. And then there's been a lot of murders there too. And I think I might know this because I also read a book on it. Yeah. An entire book, and it was like a 20-hour book, but I don't know if this is the same one. Apparently there's been more than one round of murders.
Either way, pretend to be surprised.
I will.
Just
because I read the book doesn't mean it's like
didn't read a 20-hour book and did not plan to go there.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Sorry
She's
that I know.
I'm the mayor, and their city dish is mashed potatoes.
Is Coors Banquet there?
I didn't read that.
I think Coors Distillery is there. I could be wrong. I'm pretty positive they are, though.
There's not many people that... Oh, let's just go.
Okay,
let's just go. That's okay.
Oh, you're saying it's a small town?
Yes. So it's 80 miles from Denver on the base of the Rockies. So it's like cute and quaint little place. It's very touristy, and it originated with the gold rush, and it only has about 1,000 people that live there. So think like well-to-do tourists come in with a blue-collar population is basically what it is. From everything that I read anyway. It's like ski resort, but it's pretty old architecture. They have craft breweries, all that stuff, like nice restaurants, and it's just touristy with not that many people that live there. So, okay, here we go. January 6th, which was yesterday.
Oh, I was wrong. Coors Banquet is in Golden, Colorado. Oh. Wanted to make sure I fixed that.
I was like, how did I miss that with all my research?
I think Golden's near there. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking. Please go.
Okay. January 6th, 1982. Bobbie Jo Oberholzter, she's a 29-year-old girl who lives there, and she just wanted to go out to a bar. She got a promotion, so she wanted to celebrate with her friends, right?
Yes.
Why are you smiling?
Because this is the book I read.
Are you serious? Mm-hmm. God damn it.
I knew the second you said Breckenridge, because it's a series of... I'm going to stop talking again because I don't want to give anything.
I am devastated. I'm so sad that you know this.
Don't be sad. I like hearing you tell stories. That's the whole reason we have a fucking podcast, is to tell stories.
I thought it was just to hang out because we never see each other.
Oh, it's that too.
Okay, so for those of you who didn't read this book and apparently are from there, I'm going to keep going. Bobbie Jo goes out with her friends, right? 8 p.m. comes and Bobbie Jo's like, yeah, I'm going to go home. Her husband's at home. Her friends didn't want to leave yet. So she's like, you guys stay and I'm going to go. She decides to hitchhike. She didn't want her husband to come get her. And it's only 8 o'clock. I would have been like, Will, come pick me up. But she decides to be nice. And she's like, I'll hitchhike. That's pretty normal.
Back then, hitchhiking was so common. It's like unbelievable.
And it always sounds crazy now, but that's what I wrote. Like, it's so crazy now, but back then it was so normal. So she was careful though when she did it, because she did it quite a bit, and they did a lot in that town. But she never got in any vans. She wouldn't take rides if it was more than one dude and that sort of thing. So her husband Jeff was shocked when he woke up the next day and she was not there.
Ugh.
Yeah. I'm sure you're not going to be shocked whenever I tell you that he went to file a missing persons report, but they wouldn't let him do it.
Why not?
It was too soon.
Why not, Heather?
Because it was too soon. So they thought, they were like, oh, she went to a bar. She probably just stayed with a friend, and you don't know that. So he, of course, grabs some friends, and they go searching for her. They don't find anything. So at 3 p.m. the next day, 30 miles out of town, a farmer finds Bobbie's ID. The farmer calls Jeff, and he goes out to get it and talk to him. And then he looks over when he's on his way, and he sees Bobbie's backpack in a snowy field. I know. When he goes to look around, he finds a bunch of bloody Kleenexes, a bloody glove, and an orange sock that he's like, that's not hers. Why is that here? So he freaks out, and then they go looking everywhere. And then 2 hours later, about 10 miles outside of town, they find her. Yeah. It was like 20 miles, though, away from her, all of her stuff. So they're lucky that they even found her.
Agreed. Yeah.
They just happened to find her. It looked like that she had tried to get away. The cops thought she had tried to get away from somebody because she had a zip tie only on one wrist. They searched the bar parking lot where she was with her friends, and they found her keychain. They also found this spiky thing that her husband had made for her, like as a protection thing. And it's so freaking sad, though, because she sounded like for that time she was very careful. Like, I don't know. It just sounded like she was very careful as far as...
Yeah,
she hitchhiked carefully, and she had a self-defense keychain, which, people didn't think
to have. Mm-hmm. I also note that I will not be able to sound shocked here, so I'm going to only give the appropriate responses.
I know your facial expressions, it's like you know what I'm about to say.
I do.
I know, and I'm so sad.
Well, we had talked about it. I called you one day, and I was like, I just finished this book. And I had told you all about it, and that
I don't remember any of that.
I know, and that I had said that My Favorite Murder did the podcast on it, and I felt like there were some discrepancies, so I didn't know if the book was an actual like direct novel of what happened, or if maybe My Favorite Murder made a mistake. And I kind of doubted that one, but the book was like based on a true story, so it kind of confused me. So I talked to you about like this like confusion I had with like the storyline. So I'm intrigued to see you give it in a different version too.
Yeah, was I there for that?
Yeah. Okay. I remember literally the conversation where I was driving when we had it, because I was really frustrated that it didn't match up.
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
No, I mean, I'm saying how much I remember it because I had devoted fucking
20 hours.
Yes.
Do you remember the name of the book?
No, but I'll look.
Okay. So I'll keep going because it's not like you need to hear what
I have to hear the exact details.
Okay. Back in, because this is very sad.
Yeah.
They
it's
thought
a wild story.
They thought that's where she got picked up at the bar because she was trying to use the spiky thing, but unfortunately nobody really knows. The police pieced together this. So they said she got out of the car, she figured out something was up or she got in the car, then she figured out something was up. So she tried to run after he got one zip tie on her, but the killer caught up with her and shot her twice, and then they think she bled out.
Was it in her back?
Yes.
Yeah, when she was getting out of the car.
Yes.
The book was called Monster by Steve Jackson.
Okay. So if you want to read that for 20 hours or have it read to you, is it on Audible?
Yeah, I did it from an audiobook.
Okay.
I would have never known 20 hours. It was like 18. It was a really fucking long one.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's how long the story is today. So we're going to do episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 off of the story. Okay. Now I keep saying, in here I even wrote, guess what else? Because I was so excited to tell you this.
Tell me.
Okay. The day before, another woman went missing. So the same day, 1,000-person town. And
what are the fucking odds of that?
I know. It's insane. Nothing like that ever happens. And then now you have one woman that was shot and then another one went missing on the same fucking day. So a little before 5 p.m., the day that Bobbie went missing, Annette Schnee was a 21-year-old cocktail server, ran some errands around town, and she was also hitchhiking, but she never came home. Okay, cut to July 3rd, which is 6 months later. A young boy was fishing in an isolated area near the mountain called Sacramento Creek, came across Annette's body. That was about 20 miles south of Breckenridge. The snow and freezing temps preserved her body, though, and they determined that she was also shot. I wrote, guess what else they found? And why do I always want you to guess stuff?
I made you guess how much it costs to fucking
every episode I've ever listened back to, I always say, guess what else? And you're like, I don't want to guess. Like, just tell me.
Tell me the story.
I know.
What do you want me to guess? And maybe I'll get it right.
All right. Okay, back again. I'm going to go back down to Sadville. Annette, she had one orange sock on. So cops think Annette was killed first, and then Bobbie was later that night, and then he scattered that stuff between them, or the killer did. They also found something strange on Annette. She had a business card of Jeff.
Yep.
Who was Bobbie's husband.
Yep. Which was the girl who died the day later. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So,
which is just insane how that one turns out. That is the wildest part of all of this, if you ask me.
So they go find Jeff, obviously, and he's like, I don't know who that is. And then he sees her photo on the news, and then he calls her back, and he's like, oh, I know who that is. I've met her before, which obviously it's a town of 1,000, so you're not going to flirt without your neighbor really knowing, right?
And also the concern that now he's probably like a prime suspect.
Yeah. Jeff had given her a ride once, and she was hitchhiking, so he remembered her face. But she had his business card because he was like, oh, she had a broken appliance, and apparently he fixed it. Or he fixed those for a living. The cops are like, when he calls them back to tell them this, the cops are like, this is really weird. So he agreed. He's like, sure, I'll take a polygraph, but he passes that. And then his alibi is a little sketchy, but it checked out too. And this is apparently just one of the most fucked up coincidences ever.
It truly is. Yeah. Like, what are the fucking odds of that?
I mean, granted, it's a small town, but still, same day, her husband, like, that's too much.
I agree. And it looked hella suspect. Hella fucking suspect. And
they
never
said
I don't
what
know
his
her.
alibi was. Like, they just said it was sketchy. That's all I could find.
Oh, he stayed at home that night.
Is that why it was sketchy?
Yeah. He was at home by himself.
Maybe I should have listened to the book before.
It would have been too much. I still don't know what was right on the book, right? Like, I still can't tell you that everything in that book was right. I read like 4 things,
and it just kept saying, like, or all the stuff that I read, it just kept saying sketcy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was just
sketchy.
At home. He was just at home.
Sketchy.
And sketchy sounds way cooler than he was at home watching TV.
That's true.
I could be wrong too. I read this book 2 years ago, so my facts are not 100%.
So since they couldn't pin it on him, the case went cold, but the town's super pissed. And I even put a note in here. I was like, I'm about to skip forward because last time, because I jumped around.
It confused the fuck out of me.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm about to skip forward. I didn't want to lose anybody else.
Thank you for the preface of that.
If I lose you and you're in front of me, anybody
it's a complicated story, so I'm already proud of you for picking it.
Yeah. 7 years go by. Charlie McCormick, that name just sounds cute. He's a retired Denver homicide detective, and he moved to Breckenridge. He retired. He said the homicide was too much for him in Denver. There was too much action, so he moves to Breckenridge. He hears about the cold case, obviously, and then he's like, well,
sweet baby angel,
I got to jump in because he can't help himself. Annette's family hired him, and he tried to solve this, and it was 1989 at the time. He finds several leads, which this whole story has so many coincidences in it. It's so stupid. Like, they just, you want to believe all of them. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he finds several leads, like 2 different serial killers. One was in Idaho and the other one was in Montana, but they don't pan out. Then a task force was opened by the district attorney's office, and Charlie joins them. He's a peach.
He's like
definitely a peach.
I will have to say, in Monster, like, the way that it is written is that he is a godsend.
Yeah.
And that he just never gives up. He's so dedicated, and that he becomes truly a part of Annette's family.
Yeah, everything that I read is the same. He worked on it almost every single day for 30 years. And you would think that that would be really expensive since he was hired by the family, but the sweet baby angel, he only charged him $1 a year. $1 a year. So obviously over the years, DNA becomes mainstream, and they were like, oh, hey, we have blood on this evidence, and we should probably test it. But back when this happened, they thought it was hers. They just looked at it, and by looking at it, obviously
assumption.
before DNA, they thought that. So
well, and she was shot, so blood.
Yeah. In the 90s, they were at least able to tell that it was a guy's blood. It was still pretty archaic, the DNA stuff, but they could tell at least it was a dude's. When DNA comes around even more, they test Bobbie's husband's Jeff's DNA, and it's not a match after all those years. Could you imagine living in the area, though, and having everybody, like, you go into the grocery store?
I wonder, though, that anyone thought it was actually him. Like, I think he continued to live his life because I don't think anyone thought it was him.
And from what I read, they did.
Man.
Or some people did.
I'm sure, obviously, there's going to be some people that do.
Yeah.
People who don't know him.
They did, yeah. The people that knew him were still suspect just because
you kind of can't help to
the
be.
business card.
Yeah.
If you think about it, if somebody like your neighbor, and then his wife dies, and then some other girl dies, and then they were like, well, Joe Schmo's business card was on the second
I would totally think it was him.
I would too. Even if I knew him, I'd be like, well, you don't know anyone. But we also watch true crime stuff every 5 minutes, so
there's that.
There we do go. I mean, this is literally the coincidence from hell, but there's...
You're right. I did miss it. Like, now that I think about it, I'm like, no, they really did. It did ruin his life. Mm-hmm. As it always does when someone's accused and they never find the real killer.
Yeah, and then on top of that, he lost his wife. Like,
he was madly
on top
in
of
love
all
with.
that, he lost his wife, and then everyone thought he did it. So it's
and he was young too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was something. I don't remember.
She was in her 20s.
Yeah, rewind if you want to know how old she was, because I can't get my notes out. So this is the 90s still, and the case goes cold again, but Jeff is cleared. They ran the DNA through the database, but they didn't get a match there either. So they had to start all over again. They looked at a cab driver. He apparently raped and assaulted a woman in the town, and when he went to jail, he was talking big shit, being braggy and gross.
Ew.
Like that he did it. And then also in 1981, apparently some guy named Tracy Petroselli killed his fiance and then went on a murder rampage in the area. So when he was doing all this, he happened to stay at the hotel where Annette worked. But he didn't do it either. Neither of them matched the DNA. So all that just kept happening. Cut to 2018, when genealogy is popular now. So the cops get an idea and they run it against all those.
As I just spit in a cup for my DNA test.
It is kind of ironic that you just did that.
I just did, and I had to approve, and I found it really awkward, like what you have to give consent to and what you don't. Mm-hmm. Essentially, if I do murder someone, my DNA is in the system.
Yep.
So I'm fucked. And they can either dispose of it really quickly.
Yep. Or they keep it.
I have them keeping it right now, because if they take too long to process it and it goes whatever, and they threw it away, then I don't fucking know. But anyway, that was like kind of nerve wracking.
I remember feeling very overwhelmed.
I did. Thank you. It makes me feel better, because I just did mine. It's overwhelming.
I was like, meh, go for it.
The odds of me murdering somebody is very, very low.
It's like a 1 in 2 shot.
I also spit in that cup and then dropped it all over my floor and had to respit, and that's why I was almost late.
Did you really?
I texted you that. I dropped my spit.
I thought you meant like...
No, I dropped I got all my spit in the thing, because you can't drink water for 30 minutes before, and I had like barely any saliva. I had to pull it from my eyeballs through my mouth, spit in it. Then finally I went up to look and see if I got it filled, and dropped it.
I had
spit all over the floor.
Because you say funny stuff and you word things funny. So in the text, I thought you meant just drop my spit. Like,
I dropped it in the container.
Like
no,
I dropped it.
Like
I thought you meant like in
and
the
had
mailbox.
to re-spit.
Oh.
That's why I thought I was going to be late.
Gross.
Yeah.
Just spitting all over the floor.
Literally. And I just wiped it up. I didn't even fucking mop it.
Funny.
And then Jay came out and I was like, I just dropped all my spit. And he's like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. I see the way you worded it doesn't make any sense.
But I dropped my spit.
Okay. Back in. 2018. They find 12,000 people that are a possible match for this profile out of all that stuff. Cute little Charlie McCormick. He's still working on this, and he's 80 years old, by the way.
Sweet baby.
And they start going through the list because they have to. So when they're going through them, they start asking for more samples from these 12,000 people. And 1 year later, they found the match of someone that is related to the killer.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, pause that. And you already know that this ties in, but I was like, pause that, but this ties in,
I'm
I
excited.
promise.
Ratchet back around.
Yes. Okay. We're going back to the day where the women went missing. So January 6, 1982, around midnight. So 41 years ago yesterday.
Wow.
Harold Bray was the sheriff, and he was flying to California. The plane goes over the Guanella Pass in Colorado, and he happens to look out the window and sees headlights. I'm not sure how he even did or noticed that at all.
Yeah.
But he did, and he noticed that they were signaling SOS at the same time in Morse code. He tells the flight crew, and they tell the Federal Aviation Administration, and they send a plane that's close by to circle around.
How do you know the fucking SOS in Morse code?
How are you looking out the window?
I mean, I'm always looking out the window.
I know, I do too, but I'd be like, oh, there's headlights. I wouldn't be
I feel like they would in that particular, like in that environment.
I guess.
I feel it in that environment. Like Colorado, there's a lot of people who, like a car accident, you could be pushed off the road.
Good for
something
him.
could happen.
So they send a vehicle because they have the plane circle back around and see him. They call David Montoya. He's the fire chief in Clear Creek. And of course, he's like, are you joking? How did this even happen? And he thought it was wild. And apparently this area is over 11,000 feet up, and it's awful in the winter, and usually people aren't around there. So
that's why it caught his attention so quick, I'm sure.
Yeah. Alan Lee Phillips was hunkered down inside the truck and freaked out because he didn't think anybody was going to find him at all. Dave was the fire chief. I was like, what the fuck are you doing out here? It's 20 below zero, and it's been snowing like crazy.
Do you remember when it was -9 and we had a blizzard, and this is fucking 20 below? Oof.
Yeah, and your truck's stuck, and you think you're not going to ever go anywhere.
And that's why somebody, no.
So Alan doesn't have snow tires or chains on him like everybody else does, and I know you get boners for tires, so.
I do, and I'm disappointed that he didn't have fucking chains on his tires.
Yeah. He said, he tells the fire chief, I've been drinking, so I thought this would be a good idea, and I'm drunk. So basically, he just tells him I was drunk driving through snow.
And this was 2018 or back? Sorry, what year was this?
This was 1982.
Okay, so it was back in a time where you said you were drunk and your cop drove you home, and you got your car the next day.
Yeah.
That's what let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
It was,
yeah. He didn't get a ticket for that.
Oh, no, definitely not. He had tried to, before the fire chief got there, he had tried to walk to a nearby ski resort, and then he had to turn back. So then he got underneath an emergency blanket and did the SOS because he heard the plane going over. Dave said he knows
the SOS has an emergency blanket, but didn't put fucking chains on his tires. I have questions for him. Okay, sorry.
I know.
There's things I want to unpack. What's his email address?
He did not go to the school where you were talking about.
National Outdoor something.
That's right. Yes. No, you're going to wear a hoodie tomorrow that says that.
Oh my God. Yes.
The fire chief said he would have frozen to death if no one had seen his headlights. He also said, hey, how'd you get that huge bruise on your face? And Alan's like, I was drunk and had to pee, so I got snow blinded and I slammed my head into my truck, as one does. That was like huge ass news back then, obviously. So, okay. 40 years to the day after the girls went missing, they tied together that it's fucking Alan Lee Phillips' blood on the Kleenexes. The truck guy, right?
What?
I know. She's so shocked.
I really don't remember all the story.
I know.
It's a very complicated one. I don't remember all of it.
Yeah, I would not know.
I remember the victims more than the killer.
Yeah, as you should. Yeah. They got in his trash somehow, and his saliva was on his fast food wrapper, so they tested it, and it was a match.
Oh my God, fast food.
This asshole killed those two women and had been living near the small town for 40 years, like nothing happened. They show his mugshot on TV, and Dave, the fire chief, saw his face on TV and flipped out. He's like, I saved this asshole.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He was quoted by the news, and he said, we picked him up straight out of hell. And obviously, Alan got his truck stuck after he was getting rid of the women's bodies.
Yeah. Oh my God. I totally forgot about that. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. So real quick.
Yes.
Motherfuck.
Yep.
Murders a girl on one day.
No, same day.
Oh, it was the same day?
Early that day and then later that night. Yeah.
Okay. So early in the day, later that night, hides their bodies. A storm hits. Cop sees them, pulls them out, and he survives it. And he's the one who had murdered them.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking fuck.
At this time, Alan was he was 71 years old, a grandfather of 3, and they figured all this out. He was charged with kidnapping, first-degree murder, and first-degree assault for both Annette Schnee and Bobbie Jo Oberholzter on February 24th, 2021. So it's like recent.
Just now.
After he got arrested, obviously Jeff is like, oh, thank God. Because like people still even didn't believe, like they still talked shit even though he was
So
cleared.
the book that I read, it wasn't Alan. It was the same storyline, but the guy's name was different. I swear to that. I think.
Yeah. Eileen is Annette's mom. She was 88 at the time, and she said, "It's been a rough 40 years, and I thought that maybe I would be gone before I had closure in this case. I'm ready to go when it's my time now." I know. Alan tried to appeal this and said that the DNA was mishandled and contaminated. He at the trial, he didn't have any.
This guy.
I know. He didn't have anything to say after the families of Annette and Bobbie spoke tearfully. So they all got up and were like, "Do you know what you did to our families?" And after, the only person that got up, he didn't, but his daughter Andrea Shelton did. Andrea said she felt sorry for the families, but believes in forgiveness and redemption. She went on to say how great of a father he was, and he taught them morals and ethics when they were growing up. The judge said to the families, "I hope the healing starts today," right after he handed Alan 2 life sentences to be served back to back, which was also the maximum penalty allowed by law. And that's a sad story of the murders of Bobbie Jo Oberholzter and Annette Schnee.
Here is the big difference between the book.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
So Tom Luther was one of the people who they thought had actually killed the girls originally. Like he was the real Tom Luther. There was a guy that was one of the suspects. In the book, Tom Luther's the killer.
Really?
Not Alan.
Huh.
And this guy, though, he was fucking insane. And so the book was so long because it covers all of this gruesome torture that in the time frame of those 30 years he was sexually deviant to other women, would do kind of that pickup hitchhiker stuff. Someone would get away, that a woman did get away and had said that, hey, this happened. I don't know.
Maybe that's one of the I just hit the mic. Maybe that's one of the coincidences that they were talking about.
I don't know.
Because they were talking about other serial killers, and I read a couple
yeah,
other
maybe.
things.
But
So maybe
this guy went to jail for the killing of those
them?
2 people. Yeah. Like he was the one that killed them.
Wow.
And then his wife, he had been cheating on his wife, and he like would go away for long periods of time, and that he had 2
Maybe
friends
it was based
that helped
on
him.
true events.
I think so.
Because
When I read the book and then I heard the podcast, I was like, there's no way that My Favorite Murder makes such a mistake of the actual person.
human. No,
but then I looked up Tom Luther and he was in jail too.
Yeah, look up Alan Lee Phillips because he just got sentenced. I watched his sentencing on YouTube. But I just couldn't imagine. And he
that was not the guy.
Yeah. He was a miner and a mechanic, I think. But yeah, he lived close to there. He never moved.
And this is Tom Luther. And he was a serial killer.
He might have been one of the ones they were talking about.
He must have been.
Maybe they just went a different route in the book.
I think you're right.
Because they didn't dive in, like a lot of the stuff, they just wanted to highlight the coincidences between everything. Because this is literally coincidence city. There's no...
Tom Luther would like take hammers and sexually assault people physically with them. Like what he did in Monster was a monster.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Well, he did, what
I think they did?
What?
They took Tom Luther, who was a murderer, and they wrote it as if he killed those 2 people.
That's probably what it was.
You know why? Probably because they didn't find Alan. Yeah.
This was recent.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
this book was not then.
Even on the My Favorite Murder episode, it came out in 2021. So he had just been arrested when that episode came out. So I had to get on there and find everything that happened after the fact. And there's not a lot in there. There's not a lot, you know how I like to talk about his childhood. There's not a lot about motive because that drives me insane. I want to know why he did that. Like there's no sign of rape. There's no attempted rape. They don't think it was sexual at all. So I don't understand why he did it.
I don't get it either.
I don't either.
Unless it happened like the way they portrayed it in like the book, it's that he had gotten them comfortable and was then going to try something. And the women fought back really quickly, fast. And like with technically the second girl that she had like fought him off and hit him and was running out.
That's Bobbie Jo.
Bobbie Jo. And she was running out of the truck. Yep. And he grabbed the gun. And he just shot her in the back.
I think
she was running
that's
away.
what they think happened too. But they didn't. I mean, obviously they can't. And he won't talk. No. So they don't. He still says he's innocent. So he gonna die in jail. Bye.
What do people think whenever they kill somebody and then they just don't? An extra fuck you to the family.
I feel guilty. You thought you didn't say bye to me correctly yesterday and called me because you felt guilty.
I did.
And could you imagine, 40 years living in the same area knowing you did that. And then nothing's come out yet, but I'm curious. I don't know why they haven't dug into it, but like, what if he did other stuff? 40 years have gone by and you do two in one day.
Yeah.
Like I'm interested to see.
That's the other part, was that there's a whole bunch of other women that he killed that their bodies weren't found and they were tossed in the Colorado mountains.
Yeah. So like I'm interested to see if anything else comes out, because this is so recent. That is wild. A year ago that he went to jail.
And this like, and you're like, I am so bummed that you know the story, but I don't fucking know the story.
Yeah.
Because what I read was a different version of it.
Yeah.
What sucks is I read the book before I heard the first podcast, and so it's always fucking confused me.
Yeah.
It's always thrown me off.
But I was excited to tell you. I was excited to tell you about the plane part, because that's so wild. And then you're like a mountaineer. So. I'm a mountaineer. And yeah.
I want to see when this book was written, because I wonder if they write the storyline in there because I know the names. I know that, like, I know.
Well, now I want to know about this Luther psycho.
Oh, he's a fucking psycho.
He sounds like it.
It says it's 528 pages. So yeah, I guess that would be a little bit of a.
That seems like a lot.
I'm trying to see the year.
How many pages is
July
the Bible?
2nd, 2013.
It was when that was written?
Yeah. So I really think Luther, Luther fucking.
They thought
they thought he did it. Because he did all this other fucked up shit. I hate the guy too much to even do a story on it, because I know too much about it. It's like me doing a story on Dahmer right now.
Oh, gosh.
Like shit you just can't do, because you're just like, I can't fucking.
That's wild. Because they thought that these other people did it for so long, but then they cleared them with DNA.
Yeah.
So.
Wild. So a whole book was written about another guy killing them.
I bet that happens more often than we know.
I'm sure it does too.
Wow.
Fucked up.
Well, I feel bad for Bobbie, Joe, and Annette and their families, but I'm glad that
at some point they got solace, you know.
Mm-hmm. And her mom did. I think she's still alive, and I'm going to say she is.
I think
living a very happy life.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. That's all. Yeah, that's all I got, sister.
Wild.
I know.
Man, that just blew it all open, because I told you, I was like, I'm just so mad because I just don't get it.
I vaguely remember this conversation.
And like, I don't expect you to remember every I read 1,000,000 books and I tell you a lot of random miscellaneous shit, and most of it's not real. And so it's like, yeah, why would you know that?
But I vaguely remember it now.
Yeah.
Because you were very angry.
And I never said that guy's name because it was Tom Luther in my world.
I just read
and I was like, then they say it's this guy Alan, and it's not Alan because it's Tom. There's a whole book about how it's this guy.
Yeah. Well, Alan's in jail.
Fucking boozled, man.
I know.
That's wild, guys. But Monster, if you want to read that book, it's a pretty heavy one, but I think there's parts of it really drag on, but the psychological fuck-uppery is pretty fucked up, as you'd imagine.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I know. I need a minute. So sorry. Were you glad that I didn't follow the rules?
100%. I said it in the beginning.
I know. I'm glad.
I'm happy too. I think we need to start taking our own turns on.
I'm going rogue.
Yeah.
2023 is the year for me being healthy and rogue.
I like it. I am still going to probably follow the rules to a T.
What?
But
Shocking.
You get outside of that box. It'll be a good time.
I color outside the lines.
Yeah, you do.
Get out stencils.
Yeah. I would. And yes, I do. And yes, I do. Do you have any ideas for the next podcast? Throwing you right on there.
List, and we are going to have a staff meeting at lunch and talk about it.
I am so hungry, and I'm so excited about that.
Starving.
Yes. Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Well, we love you. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast.
Rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends.
Yeah, if you can share it, and thank you for all of our lovely listeners who do share it.
Oh my gosh, y'all are sweet.
Hopefully, we will get some more people. We're really pumped about it.
That's right.
We need some more listeners so that waking up really early on Saturdays feels right. Yeah, right. We have 5, and I'm like, we're famous.
I know. We got to wear sunglasses to lunch now. I want to be recognized. Please no photos. Please no photos. Literally, please no photos today. Whenever you brought up the idea, you're like, we could do video. I'm like, ugh, then we had to get ready.
I know. We never recorded a time
I am
when
in a
we're
ball
in a
gown.
place.
Brooklyn looks like crap.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Yeah. I showed up in my wedding dress.
Yeah, I didn't shower, so there's that.
I mean, I didn't either.
That makes me feel better.
All right. Thanks, y'all.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Theodore, can I pet that dog?